thoughts on this interesting topic. So let me start with sharing my screen. I suppose I will open the presentation on my side.
Yeah, sure, please.
Cool. Can you see it?
Yeah, all good. All good.
Very good. 1 second. So you guys have one minor technical issue on my side.
No worries. Take your time. Maybe you can zoom it.
Yeah, that's okay. So right now, what you can see on my screen, you can see the presentation and something else, yes?
Yeah.
Cool. So I want you to see only the presentation.
You know, that's it's also okay because you can move this slides, you know, and we will see, you know, the previous one and the new one. So, oh,
yeah,
now it's
that's
work.
okay.
Yeah,
That's okay. Okay, fine.
that's cool.
Yeah, thank you once again, and sorry for this technical interruptions. It happens. So once again, hello everyone, hello ex-founders community. Hi to all listeners of the online stream, and maybe listeners and viewers of the record, if there will be one. My name is Vito Mtsariashvili. Once again, today I'm representing two organizations. ASPIS Finance, which is a DeFi asset management infrastructure. We are actually a startup ourselves. And on the other side, I'm also presenting a company called TractionMates, which is a BizDev as a service company, where we help early stage companies with getting some traction, fundraising, and in the latest couple of months, we are deeply into the incentives program, which will be in the focus of today's meeting. Before crypto and before my Web3 activities, I was, as already mentioned, I had a management consultant role in Oliver Wyman, where I was focusing on financial institutions. Also, I was at the leading position at a private bank, working on the retail banking. But when I came to crypto, I needed, and I feel like I needed to forget about everything I learned, because things work differently here, especially if you want to be better than everyone on the market in some particular fields. So today's journey will be mostly about the key challenges which are faced by the startup founders, especially in Web3 nowadays. We will talk about how are people and how are products being promoted, how people want to promote it because they see that everyone is doing this. We'll talk about don'ts in business development. Now we will talk about how we propose to do it after learning some lessons. In particular, we will talk about like the hottest topic of the current crypto market, incentives program. I mean, I suppose everyone has heard about drop hunters or the farmers, which are attacking huge protocols like Blast nowadays, for example, creating hype and buzz around it, and make people every people want to participate in this blockchain or in this protocol somehow. We will not just talk about such protocols and mechanics, but we will also look at some case studies and working approaches into promoting your product using a native Web3 tools. And at the final stage, I also want you to take a look at decentralized fundraising, We'll not only talk about business development, but also about new ways to raise funds, as was mentioned in our topic. And as a part of it, I will also show you ASPIS in actions, and how ASPIS as a decentralized fundraising tool can be helpful for early stage startups to get the contribution from your community and early investors as early as possible. So let's start with the problem. Why are we here? As I told you during telling about myself, I'm not here only from the servicing side or agency side. Last couple of years, I'm working as a startup founder, focusing on everything you've seen, like in TV series like Silicon Valley, and focusing on everything you are doing yourself if you're a startup founders, like product, customer development, product validations, fundraising. And the issue right now is that to get the pre-revenue validation, which is very important in the Web3 field, where revenue validation itself is quite postponed because of the specifics. To do this pre-revenue validation, you need to do a lot of things. You need to make your product interesting for the community searching for fixes, and not everyone knows how to do it. The traditional marketing is quite ineffective here. The tools, like we'll talk about them later, but for example, articles and influencer campaigns are not really working. And everyone is selling communities, but creating meaningful communities of the people who will contribute to your product somehow is really a struggle. And like obvious thing, the environment itself is quite dynamic. And even if you think that you know everything about Web3, you can just, dive deeper into 4chan or Discord servers, and you will find so much gems and so much mechanics working right now while you're still trying to raise your 100K. You will be quite surprised. So how to deal with this? And the first is not to do what is not working, but yet everyone is selling. And like the 3 things that will save your time and money while being approached by a servicer or like an agency or an individual. No, I'm not talking that all of this is bad. I'm just talking to you from my experience of being a startup founder on the different stages. And so the first thing is, well, do not rely on traditional marketing. Do not rely on the articles in Yahoo Finance, in some crypto media. Do not rely on the people who are selling you key opinion leaders for subscription, because they're not bad by themselves, but the industry itself made people burning out their own audience. Well, and it's not only their fault, everyone wants to earn money. Everyone wants to sell ads into their huge blogs, but not everyone can prove that this project is good and will not be dumped, and this project is bad and it has like shady team or something like this. But it happens very often into crypto. And also paid ads. Well, sorry, but starting from a lot of headache with like marketing accounts, where you will either need to create like several ones for yourself in order to be on the safe side while being banned, or you will need to find some specialists and pay them a lot of money, but this will be still ineffective because it works maybe only on scale. But when you're a crypto startup, and especially early stage, try to focus on those who are active. Try to be in a perspective where you're not outreaching, but you create everything to be mentioned by the people who are creating buzz into industry right now, today. And luckily today we have such people, and we understand, at least preliminary, who are them and how to hunt hunters. So what I'm talking about, I call them here targeted incentive hunters. Those could be split into two groups: retail ones, who are following different channels, different servers into Discord, different accounts into Twitter to find the next gem, and the huge enterprise level farmers who have a lot of accounts, who are constantly searching for the project where you have at least shady mention of the future retro drop, because nobody obviously makes it publicly available that you will have a retro drop in your project, and sometime you will give people tokens worth of 20K. But there are some mechanics that allow people to think that there is a huge probability of the drop in your project. So when you decided to focus on those guys, you need to have something to offer them. And that's where we find the gem, which we are working right now quite successfully with our clients. You need to create an interesting referral and affiliate program and some kind of liquidity lock program in order to incentivize people to invite their friends, their audience, in order to lock liquidity. And when someone sees such opportunities in the project, they believe that someday you will have this retro drop, and it makes sense to make some activities within your protocol. Because seriously, there are people whose main business line currently is to find such projects. So you will have the audience, you will be found. And the last but not the least, the technical execution. Make it multi-channel. Don't forget about on-chain marketing campaigns, tools like Galaxy, tools like Spindle for attribution. We talked before that traditional marketing is inefficient, but you will still have different data-driven tools in Web3. So after designing a good model of incentives, the good model of liquidity locks, just make sure you're technically okay and good to go. Okay, how to do this? What is important? We'll not go very deep into details today, but on the same side, I don't want to make it very high level. So let's talk about some main things here, what you can do and what you can offer people. The first and very obvious thing is revenue sharing model, which is very much booming right now, and you have quite a good examples recently, like Friendtech and Unibot, which are making a huge buzz by this revenue sharing model, where people really see that it's not just another Web3 solution, but you can really earn something which then has a potential to make some excess. Tiered referral and affiliate programs, which we have already talked about, with unique pages, NFTs, Discord, all for future engagement. But please try to make the amount layers as much as in lasagna, for example. Make them a lot to award people proportionally to their efforts, because they're very often projects make mistake. They have just several rewards for everyone. They have NFTs made in different colors based on your level. This doesn't incentivize people a lot, because we work on the dopamine rules. Once we have this NFT, we are not very much interested to get another one, but in the different color. But when you make the amount of discounts different, when you make the level of revenue sharing different, it makes sense. Another part is liquidity. If you're a protocol, if your main KPI, or one of the main is TVL, you're interested in liquidity lock strategies. And here you need to design something which will control and track the amount of liquidity locked by your users and the duration of liquidity being locked. Don't forget that the best solutions are made to win-win for both invitee and referred people. And I haven't mentioned it here, but please just align everything with your revenue model and your tokenomics, because it's also a huge mistake made by projects. They create a very friendly incentive programs, but when it comes to how do we make sure that we can reward people with APY like of 20%, we see that, well, we cannot make it work because we don't have resources. Very good examples of the projects you can look at are Hubble, with a dual revenue sharing structure, Friend.Tech, as I already told you, Unibot, Drift Protocol, and Vertex. They're quite recent projects with the different levels or tiers, how we call it, based on the amounts of funds raised. Some of the projects have already made the drop. Somewhere the drop is awaited. And by the way, we made quite good and comprehensive review of the incentive programs on the market in 3 tiers of projects, starting from the guys like Aptas and down to the projects with like only 1 million backup, for example, where the program is awaited, but people are still active, with a description of what incentives are provided, what is the plan, etc., etc. Here are some main rules listed from 1 to 4. But if someone will be interested in the detailed document with this overview, please feel free to reach me out and I will share it. I just wanted to highlight 4 main insights from analyzing the current incentive programs. And sorry for like duplicating myself, but I wanna did things to stay for a long time in your minds after the call. And so once again, the tiered approach for referral and affiliate programs is quite well aligned within our expectations and what is really happening on the market. Because like I told you, it's not enough to only have the incentive programs, but you also need to have some kind of level structure to make people always want to go higher and higher, like in American like comedies, when you have a party house with the different levels and you need to create like and come through the different tasks to come to the next level. And on the next level, you feel the value of the next level. So you need to make sure that your customer, your contributor will feel the value of the next level. Revenue sharing, despite, sounding a bit shady in terms of not making your token a security, there are some mechanics used by quite high capped projects, which are still sharing their revenues using some schemes. And a good example is Hubble, which offers the DAO structures where referees get some percentage of the trading fees, and the referred individuals also receive some kind of discounts. So it's win-win for both parties, as we talked. When we come to liquidity booking periods, so it's obvious the rule is the rule. So you should make people interested in locking liquidity for higher periods. Thus, you need to offer them some kind of higher benefits for locking the liquidity. This could be higher APY or maybe discounts if you are focusing on institutionals, for example, which are mostly interested in discounts on trading fees. And you still have the call-ups and the joint campaigns, but I don't like how they happen in traditional crypto marketing. Well, we announced a partnership in Twitter and that's it. When you make this call-up incorporated in your incentive program, and when you can track that the people, for example, like use the bridge of project X and then stake liquidity into your protocol, and only in this case you receive some kind of points, this works well, because this is once again gamification, and this is about user journey and user engagement, and not just showing them a tweet that you have partnered with someone with some not quite clear perspectives. No way it's only about programs. We talked about the programs itself so much because I didn't really want to focus on like biz dev stuff, because the lessons learned here are quite obvious. And I'm quite sure that every one of you is doing what we recommend to do in terms of business development, in terms of sales, in terms of investor outreach. And for our clients, we also have a document called No Bullshit Traction Checklist. It's about the traction without huge budgets, mainly with low budgets, actually. And the key 4 rules there are validate or die, which means that it's better to spend a lot of time on customer development before you go to the product. Believe me, from our experience, where you always want to create the better product before you go to the user interview, but it doesn't work like this, unfortunately. You just waste your time. Leverage Web3 tools. Don't be skeptic about it. Web3 marketing is next-gen marketing, actually. It really works. You already have opportunity to discover a lot of target accounts, target wallets that might be interested in your decentralized applications. You can buy the databases of those wallets for quite a low amount of money. And you can use them like by matching with the Twitter accounts or some other social networks, and it's not very difficult. And it really works if you're not offering some scammy shit like sending NFTs or something else. The third, and also very important, is apply to grants and hackathons. We insist on this very much because this is one of the best ways of pre-revenue or no revenue validation. In crypto, it's very difficult to show revenue traction, especially if you're building a protocol depending on the transaction volume, etc., etc. So, but there are a lot of hackathons all over the world, online, offline. There are a lot of grant programs, and just do the basics. Don't spend time on one more feature or on one more article. Spend time on applications and automate as much as you can. You need to do everything by yourself as a founder. You need to do the email sequences. You need to do the LinkedIn approach. You need to do ask people for intro. You need to do social media management, but there are a lot of tools to automate. So just think wider. There are a lot of tools shared or tools that can be easily found. And you don't really need to pay anyone for cold outreach because it's quite easy to do it yourself. And we come to the final part of my today's speech, and I suppose some of you might have a question: where is fundraising? So you said you will have something about fundraising in the topic of the lecture, but we are still talking about some strange programs and cold outreach. So close to the fundraising. I also want to talk about this thing today because BizDev is good, but if you're an early stage founder, you might go to sleep with and wake up with a thought about fundraising. Where is my next million and 10 million valuation? And the crypto is quite interesting here. We've gone through evolution from ICOs to IEOs to IDOs, and who knows what will be next. We believe that it will be decentralized fundraising, but we think that mainly it was the new EOs, COs, or DOs were an answer to the need of transparency, to the need of control of the funds raised. And we think now, what can be more transparent than decentralized autonomous organizations and the things they provide you to make the fundraising? Because the investors get the proof of investment and have a almost full overview over the funds with a limited control in order to make the founders feel free. And founders get more opportunities, both in fundraising and early community contribution, without huge bureaucracy, without huge documents, somehow made it SAFs and other agreements without like legal entities, something like this, without transparency. But with DAOs, you can do continuous funding, because once you create DAO, you can always get the contribution and send LP token in exchange. You are building trust from the day one. People see how you spend your funds. People see how much you spend. People see that if they do some tasks, they don't receive the worthless NFT. They receive LP token, which proves that they invested some amount into your project, and which can be then reverted to your tokens or something else. This is like quite a transparent and clear model. And for sure, we believe, and we made a lot of calculation, it reduces the operational cost, because you can track everything on chain, you can do accounting on chain, you can almost manage your investor relationships on chain by using decentralized autonomous organizations. And I just wanted to briefly tell you about our startup here and how it can be helpful for you as an early stage founder, because ASPIS.finance, as one of use cases, focuses on building a decentralized wallet for startup where the funds can be collected by very transparent way, where you can build a strong community by assigning, the tasks and giving people something in exchange for early contribution. You will control retention, which is a huge issue in the Web3, because as we told before, it's easy to get some amount of people on your Discord server or like Twitter account, but it's quite difficult to get them on board from day one until you're listed, because you don't have a working product, for example, and what should they do? What should people do? But with the DAO, they can be a part of your journey even before you have a product. They can be a part of your budget. They can be a part of your decision-making, which is quite flexible. You can assign on which decision can community promote or not. You are gaining, which is also important, on-chain operations history and credibility as a result. When someone asks you, what's your traction? Especially if you're spending in crypto, it's quite difficult to, show investors how much was spent on what, show some on-chain activity, especially if you don't have the product ready yet. But with the DAO, you can show on-chain activity, you can show your spendings, you can show your inflows, and you can do much more than just saying, I have 1,000 people in my waiting list and 2,000 into NFTs. And as I told before, also cost efficiency and true expanded horizons, because you are very much unlimited and at the same time very much open with your community. So, key takeaways from my today's speech. First is incentivize while approaching. So not just focus on outreach, focus on the value you can give people, the incentives you can provide them in order to make them engaged. Very obvious one. The second, monitor working BizDev solutions. It's easy to fall down by the amount of offers you receive on your email with different marketing strategies, et cetera, but just monitor everything what happens on the market, monitor new mechanics, work on the pipeline on non-VC fundraising opportunities. We talked about grants and hackathons. Don't forget about the engagement rate. So even through your outreach, searching for partners or contributors, try to focus on engaging them from day zero. And the last one, explore decentralized fundraising. And we are very much happy to provide you a demo of how ASPIS can be used here, or how other tools can be used if you don't like ASPIS, for example. You'll have the opportunity to set up the contribution options from the beginning. Like from day one, you will be able to receive at least $100, but this is traction. So the difference between $0 and $100 is a very much difference. And focus on providing as much transparency as possible, because this will be one of the main currencies of Web3, especially in the future. And approach your community as decision makers. Thank you very much. That's all from my side.
Thank you, Vito. Yeah, that was really cool, actually. And I was agree with the many different things inside, especially when the startups, they start doing their activities from PR, buying some articles in the magazines and things like that. And actually, the marketing and paid ads, it's also really painful question in Web3. There is no really pretty good solution for these things, and actually I know that validate or die. It's I love it. It sounds really cool. Yeah, and I totally agree with this. And I also really agree with the cold outreach for the startups. We have a long list of different agencies and companies who provide this kind of services, and they're doing good, actually, no question. But if you're a really early stage startup and you're hustling a lot, there is enough tools to make it really easy without paying like thousands of dollars for this service. Even in X Founders, we we built like our own like small no code engine for this kind of things. And we wrote a free guide for everybody how to build the same. So you can also use this. And we have a question from Aller Spindle. Could you summarize the name of mentioned product? I'm familiar with a Galaxy, but second one sounds unfamiliar to me. It was, I don't remember exactly the name of the slide, but I think it's about referral program or things like that.
Yep, I understand. Yeah. I think I understood the question. So the second product was the Spindle. There are, as I told, there are different like attribution tools in Web3. I will mainly split them into like 3 categories. So the first are the guides. It may be not a product itself, but it may be like a servicing product where you go to the group of people selling the databases of the wallets. For example, the wallets somehow connected to Gnosis. Well, if you're creating something around DAOs, you might be interested in the users of Gnosis with the amount of funds, the activity, in terms of like amount of transactions, et cetera, et cetera. So the first step, you can just buy the database. You can just analyze the amount of people. You can analyze the amount of the market by looking about the amount of money invested. Then the level 1.1 is you can try to match those wallets with accounts. Those agencies, sometimes they even do this matching for you. Well, I would say that in 10 to 20% of cases, you will get the matched accounts. But then the difficult part of works is needed to be done. You need to DM those people in Twitter, and DM in Twitter is quite a headache. And so if you don't want to do this, you have the group 2. The group 2 is about the tools where if you have an understanding of which wallets are kind of your target audience, you can somehow outreach them. For example, one of the good solutions is Slice. And by the way, I had that podcast with the founder of Slice like a couple of days ago. Guys are doing really well, and they are making an alternative of the Google AdSense for Web3. So by understanding your wallets, the target audience wallets, they can show the banners of your campaign and product on the different publishers' websites. Like usually it's centralized applications like decentralized exchanges. And the third group is the engagement tools. And I think one of the main solutions here is the Galaxy, where you can run the campaigns. If you don't your own incentive program, it's quite a good first step to try it out. You can design an incentive program, or for example, ask people to deposit some amount of funds into your protocol and receive the points on the Galaxy for those deposits, and say that like for those who will be like in top 100, we will provide like some tokens in the future or something like this. And somewhere in the middle of 1, 2, and 3, you have the different attribution tools, and the Spindle, as I remember, is also some kind of an attribution tools. It's something in the middle of 1 and 2, I suppose, if I remember it correctly. But I might be wrong. I might be wrong here.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and just one more thing is that the PR, or maybe the paying ads, it's something that you just need to pay for this, and like that's it, all done, all good. Everything is, audience is coming and everything is okay, but it doesn't work in Web3, and you need to spend, you really need to spend time to find the right first believers or early birds who will believe in your product, and it's take time. You can't do it like immediately, just in 1 hour. So yeah, so
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I agree. I think that the solutions like this, like AdSense for Web3, for example, it's good when you're already like a big company, when you have the marketing budget. When you have to decide where to spend your 1K of marketing budget this month, like obviously I wouldn't recommend to go to paid ads.
Yeah, I think the better way is to hire a community manager and start doing something. Yeah,
the guy who knows some gems, who knows the community, where to show your project or something like it's much better. It brings much more value.
Yeah, and actually, I remember also one really interesting idea from you. I didn't like looking on this from this point of view. You mentioned that how the DAO, you can turn DAO or kind of transparent on-chain structure into your traction. Actually, I see a lot of startups who collected, some emails and like wait list or things like that, and sometimes it's difficult to make some proof of this list, or it's not transparent. And the DAO structure is something like another way to solve this issue and start to collect your on-chain activity from day zero, from like idea stage. And this is something really interesting. So right now we have a tools that you don't need to like build from the scratch. You don't need to, spend a lot of time and resources, but you already have a tool that can help you to collect this traction like step by step during the days, weeks, or months, even with your small community. But this is something really interesting that I learned from you for today. Thank you a lot. I will think about this once again after the webinar. 100%.
For sure. Yeah, the idea here is quite simple. I mean, if people in crypto are ready to spend gas, like their time and nerves on hunting for drops, they should be ready, if they like the product, to spend at least $50 and contribute to a project where they have this decision-making like opportunities after all. Why not? Why not? And people are looking for X's. There will be I think for the next couple of years at least, there will be still a lot of people looking for X's in the crypto, which will be driving this segment. And you need to adapt. And I see that like usual stuff like NFTs and Discord roles are not so much engaging anymore, because it like quite a one-time shot. It doesn't brings you a long-term engagement like DAOs can.
Mm-hmm. We have a few questions in the chat. So I guess it's Aller asking. So do you have some Black Friday offer for TractionMates offers? The first one.
I think we can work something out. I think.
Please, please DM to us. We will connect you so you can talk directly. No problem.
Yeah, no problem. We'll be happy.
Yeah, and if we have more time, I will really love to see ASPIS in action and some walkthrough in incentivization tools. I think we can make it in the next webinar, not right now. But it's interesting idea to go deeper into tools, and maybe we can make a list of top 3, and we can show you tool actually how we can use it for early stage startups. It's nice idea, I think. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, just to fulfill concept of connecting wallets with the Twitters with the right tool. Less than a week ago, I met the guys from withblaze.app. They do exactly this as a service. Do you know this company?
I don't know them exactly. I don't know them exactly, but there are quite a lot of companies already doing this.
So this is a great thoughts to make another webinar and to talk deeply about this. Sure. Okay, Vito. Yeah, thanks a lot. It was really useful and really interesting. And thank you for your time. And I hope to see you next time as well.
For your invitation, guys. Have a great evening and reach me out if anything. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.